Hi there, I'm Michael Miley, Chief Marketing Officer at Vox Securitas. We're a market-leading data privacy and compliance portal, and we've simplified the data privacy compliance process to provide you with real-time data compliance monitoring. I, like many of you, have been forced to work from home in these last weeks, and we at Vox Securitas are aware that in these times, there's even more of a need to ensure that your data privacy is in order. So we've put together what we think is a useful set of 10 data compliance tips and guidance for working from home. So here goes. First of all, there should be adequate security in place if staff are working from home. So tip number one, any access to company data, especially if it contains personal data, should be accessed through a secure connection. Consider using a virtual private network or VPN as a solution. A VPN extends a private network across a public network to create a secure connection to another network over the internet. Tip number two, rather than storing data on home devices, look to keep data stored on a secure cloud solution, if possible, so that if a device is lost or stolen, there's no data that can be accessed on a hard drive. Tip number three, if you are storing data on a hard drive, if possible, encrypt the data or look to use a remote wipe system in case a device is lost or stolen. Tip number four, ensure access controls on all systems containing data are in place. Not every member of staff needs to see every bit of company data. This reduces risk if there's a breach of an employee's device. Tip number five, use two-factor authentication for any systems to prevent anyone else, either children or a third party, from accessing work data if you step away from your computer at home and forget to lock it. It's also added security if your device is lost or stolen. Tip number six, carefully consider and evaluate how secure third-party applications you use at home are. For example, video conferencing has recently become very popular, but many governmental departments and businesses handling confidential or sensitive data have opted against using certain conference calling applications due to fears of inadequate security protection of data. Tip number seven, ensure that your business has adequate working from home policy. Also, if your organisation or business does not provide devices to work from home, check you have adequate policy to cover personal devices being used for work purposes. Tip number eight. This is about the very sensitive issue of monitoring staff at home. Despite the temptation to use monitoring applications to ensure staff are working from home, it's not easy to get the balance right to protect the employer and its data on the one hand, and the possibility of infringing on the privacy rights of employees working from home. Now, issues to consider are, does the employer have the right to monitor outside normal working hours, including weekends? Also, if there is a policy of allowing employees to use their own device, how are you able to separate monitoring of work or private use of the device? So there's definitely a lot to consider here. Tip number 9, ensure that staff have adequate virus protection and anti-malware installed on devices to protect from hacking, viruses and malware. And finally, tip number 10, implement strong passwords on all your devices and where possible, update them regularly to ensure staff get into the habit of applying adequate password protection. Develop a password policy or IT security policy. So, there are our top 10 tips and guidance for working from home. And if you'd like to contact us at the Vox Securitas team or learn more about Data Vista, you can find us at voxdatavista.com.